everyone. Welcome back to our virtual classroom. Today, we're going to discuss a proof of discussion on practical research. And I'm hoping that you're comfortable while you're listening and watching. At the end of this lesson for today, you are expected to master our learning objectives.
And this is the learning objectives. First, going to define research. What is a research? Second, we're going to comprehend the importance of research in daily life. The last one, we're going to realize own research and experiences and knowledge. So before we start our discussion, I will show you a short film regarding the discovery of fire in the journey to civilization. So watch carefully.
The earliest hominids, from which the modern man derives, lived on Earth more than 4 million years ago. Initially, these primitive men were quite similar to other animals, but over the course of millions of years, man began to differentiate himself from the other creatures of the animal kingdom. His high cognitive ability allowed these hominids to create rustic tools that would serve to shape the world around them, hence beginning the lithic flake era. The first men created the first weapons, like clubs, axes, spears, and the first steels and arrows. But none of these had as much impact as the control of fire. Man was already aware of fire, as natural phenomena like lightning or erupting volcanoes could ignite natural fires. But everything changed when the first man mastered the technique needed to create fire. The control of fire changed the lives of primitive men. Fire was important to chase away predators, to protect from cold temperatures and darkness, and to prepare food, of course. This new habit of roasting and cooking animal meat allowed man to access new sources of protein that would be central to the neurological development of his descendants. But the fire also changed these hominids' biological sleep cycle. Before fire, they gathered themselves shortly after nightfall, and now they gathered around campfires. This new habit created a new space of socialization, establishing a fruitful environment for language development. Primitive men gathered around the fire, and one of the main talking points was the stories and adventures of their ancestors. These stories were orally transmitted from generation to generation. But these first men also felt the need to register more permanently their existence on our planet. And for that, they relied on art. Throughout the globe, man left his mark engraved in stone through rock drawings, and, with that, took his first steps towards civilization.
So that's it. What did the short film imply? That's correct. Human being shows the characteristic of being inquisitive, curious, hunger for knowledge and development. And that is exactly our topic is rooted. It calls research. Research? So what comes first in your mind when you hear the word research? Maybe you would say experiment, investigation, inquiry, or a product of development. Actually, research, according to Avila, it says that it is a systematic application of the scientific inquiry in order to find solutions to problems and contribute knowledge. Now, as a senior high school student, you might have your own conceptions of what research is. Am I right? Okay, in our further discussion, we will talk about why research is very important in our daily life. So I'm going to start with the fact that research gathered relevant information, improve quality of life, understand history, and also give us a personal and professional development. Here I'm going to discuss one by one. So we start on the first concept, which is gathered relevant information. Here, the result of the informations serve as a springboard for conducting a new study or basis for planning. Let's say, for example, here is the video talking about the SWS survey during the pandemic crisis. Watch carefully.
Millions of Filipino families experience hunger as the Philippines grapple with the COVID-19 pandemic. A poll conducted by the social weather stations from May 4 to 10 shows 16.7%, or around 4.2 million families nationwide went hungry due to lack of available food in the past 3 months. That includes 3.5 million families who experienced moderate hunger and nearly 700,000 families who experienced severe hunger. Moderate hunger is defined as experiencing hunger only once or a few times, while severe hunger is experiencing it often or always. The SWS says this is nearly twice as the estimated 2 million families recorded last December and the highest since the 4.8 million families recorded back in September 2014. The same survey, however, shows almost all Filipino families received food assistance, mostly from the government amid the health crisis.
Okay, did you watch it? That's good. So maybe you're wondering why SWS, or the Social Weather Station, has to collect data during the times of pandemic. Or maybe you're thinking, what are the purpose of this mobile phone survey? Exactly. The reason why is because this serves as a springboard of decisions and actions of a government in making of their improvements during the pandemic crisis, which is the decisions of the government. So let's move on to number 2, which is quality of life. In this, we can see that there's already a biggest research breakthrough in terms of communication, transportation, medicines, and even entertainment, food nutrition. This is all because of the continuous research that gives improvement to make our life more convenient and more comfortable. And then here comes the second one, which is and let's move on to the fourth concept, why research is important.
History is fascinating. It's more than just dates and facts about long ago events. And in today's ever-changing world, it's more important to study history than ever before. But before we talk about why, we need to ask, what is history? No, it's not the study of the evolution of dinosaurs, that's paleontology, or how glaciers created mountains and valleys, we call that geology. Yes, these events happened in the past, but history involves the study of humans and their actions. It's understanding how past events impacted our world. Think about it. Is it more important to memorize the exact amount of fuel the Apollo 11 used for the 1969 lunar mission?
I'm going to step off the limb.
Or to consider the impact landing on the moon had on the world and our understanding of human capabilities?
That's one small step for man.
The larger argument of how the Apollo 11 mission impacted science, technology, and humankind is what makes history. So, why do we study history? To guarantee we're not doomed to repeat it? It's true that by studying history, we can learn from our past mistakes, but we can also gain insight into why people, cultures, governments, and countries are in their current state. Take the country of Iran, for example. Tensions between Iran and the West came to a head during the Revolution of 1979, when the US-supported monarchy was overthrown and an Islamic Republic was established. Fast forward to today, and you can start to understand the tension between these two nations. Speaking of the United States, studying how the U.S. Constitution and the rights afforded to different peoples has evolved over the past 200 years can help us understand our modern government, businesses, culture, and politics. From the abolitionists and women's suffrage to the civil rights movement and present-day protests, these events and the people who led them continue to inspire generations of people who want to make an impact. Okay, let's recap. Why is it important to study history? Well, studying history allows us to develop critical thinking skills, which make us ask questions and seek out multiple perspectives to develop a more informed view of the world around us. It helps us see how we arrived where we are, but also that the only constant is change. By knowing what has worked or what has not worked in the past, we can continue to improve and move forward. So, given all this, why not soak up as much about history as you can? To learn more about the past.
Okay, so have you watched the video attentively? So, that means research gives us understanding in our history. And why is it important to study or to know about history? Because it gives us or develop us and allow us to develop our critical thinking. It also gives us a better understanding in the society and also the behavior of the people around you. So that is understanding history under the importance of research. Finally, let's move on to the last concept, which is research attain personal and professional development. Here, I will show you some video, the last one, which is talk about the personal and professional goal. So watch it attentively.
I think the case study to me that was the most interesting so far was the Disney case. I like the way we read the material and then we're able to discuss different theories and whether we think that their strategy is going to be successful or not.
When you think you know the answer to something, someone comes up with a different view and a different idea, and it makes you think about what you know about business and how business really works.
I think the personality of the people that attend the class are similar too, and that's why I love it. I'm so happy I'm here, so it's definitely a great choice. I couldn't have picked anything better.
So it also talks about, it challenges you to build new ideas. Research gives you perspective and skills for your career development, and also research for your personal growth. It gains more knowledge, skills, and also perspective in the world around you. And for the professional, in terms of professional, research give you a, a learning and strategy, not only meeting the academic requirements, but give you a more big visions. And before we end our session today, kindly answer this quick assessment. So if you're ready, kindly get your pen and paper. So this is the first question. Okay, class, so since this is a video recorded, you can play back, pause, and rewind the video in case you want to answer one by one. So I'm going to show you quickly. That is the number one questions. And then this is the number two. Number three. Number four. Again, as I said, you can rewind and pause and play again the video if you want to go back with the previous number. Now let's go to number five. I think you are all done writing your answers. So I'm so amazed because you finished your session for today, and I'm looking forward for your next session. And I would like to thank you for your listening, and of course, happy writing. Bye-bye.